Steph mentioned, whenever she sees you with the two black eyes, she smiles in a way because it just exemplifies your toughness. Do you feel tough in these kinds of situations with these two black eyes?
I mean, that's what people keep telling me. Every time she sees me, she smiles and then she says, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, you don't need to be sorry. This is what it is. And when I'm playing, like, I forget about it, and then I go and look in the mirror. I'm like, oh shit, they're still there. So yeah, I don't really think too much about it because I don't necessarily feel them all the time.
Yeah, and you're still able to see completely fine?
Yep.
All right.
Nothing's changed.
All right, perfect.
How do you win when half your roster is sitting in street clothes? For the Indiana Fever, that wasn't just a headline, it was reality. Their superstar rookie Caitlin Clark was out. Multiple guards were missing, and their season, once full of promise, looked like it might slip away at the worst possible time. Most teams would have folded, but Indiana? They turned one night in Los Angeles into something much bigger. A statement of resilience, belief, and a shocking performance that nobody saw coming. Picture this. It's late in the season, playoff spots are tightening, and the Fever are barely hanging on to 6th place. Right behind them, the Los Angeles Sparks, a team they hadn't beaten all year. 3 meetings, 3 losses, each one more frustrating than the last. And now, just as the Fever needed momentum the most, the injury report hit like a hammer. Caitlin Clark sidelined with a groin issue. Sophie Cunningham unavailable. Sydney Colson and Arie McDonald also out. 4 guards gone, 4 playmakers erased from the lineup. For most teams, that's the end of the story. Too much missing, too little firepower, and no chance of competing against a desperate opponent. Especially an opponent with history. Because this wasn't just another regular season game. This was a direct fight for playoff survival. A loss would have pulled the Sparks even closer, shrinking Indiana's cushion and raising real questions about whether the Fever were collapsing at the worst possible moment. But instead of cracking under the pressure, Indiana came in with a different mindset. Survive every possession, fight for every rebound, and lean on whoever was left standing. They didn't have stars to fall back on. They had grit. And sometimes that's more dangerous than any scouting report. Sometimes it's not the points on the scoreboard that tell the real story. It's the bruises you can't ignore. For Indiana, that story wore the face of Lexi Hull.
Originally, I was like, I just need to get the swelling to go down in my forehead. So I put a patch, slept with it the next day, woke up, and I was like, okay, the bump is almost gone, but now I have 2 black eyes. So that was tragic. But I mean, it's at this point, it's unfortunately won't be able to hide it. People know, so just rolling with it.
Were you able to hide it for the photo shoots?
The makeup artist did a really, really, really good job. And people that hadn't met me before were like, oh, I can't even tell. I'm like, okay, that's good. We'll take it. But I'm hoping they'll do some editing in the post.
Just a game earlier, Hull collided hard with Gabby Williams, leaving her with not 1, but 2 black eyes. For most players, that kind of injury is a reason to rest. For Hull, it was a challenge. She stepped onto the court against Los Angeles with her face battered, but her mentality unshaken. Every possession, she threw herself into the game, diving after loose balls, fighting through screens, picking up defenders full court. Her eyes may have been swollen, but her vision for what the team needed was crystal clear. Though, relentless energy. And here's the thing, Hull wasn't just playing, she was setting the tone. Her willingness to compete while clearly hurting sent a message that echoed across the roster. If she could fight through pain, what excuse did anyone else have? Her presence was a reminder that this team wasn't going to quit, no matter how ugly the circumstances looked from the outside. In a season where injuries piled up and doubts crept in, Lexi Hull became more than a rotation player. She became the embodiment of Indiana's toughness. A walking symbol that said, show up even when it hurts. Every game has that one moment when someone unexpected changes everything. For Indiana, that moment came from a 31-year-old veteran most people had written off, Odyssey Sims. She wasn't supposed to be the star of the night. She wasn't even in the starting lineup. But when the Fever desperately needed a spark, Sims didn't just step in, she took over. Think about the storyline. Here's a shorthanded team, clinging to playoff hopes, walking into a building where they hadn't beaten their opponent all year. And who's the player who rises above the chaos? Not the all-star rookie, not the leading scorer, but a veteran guard, playing against her former team, with something personal to prove. From the moment Sims checked in, the energy shifted. She attacked the paint with confidence, hit jumpers when the offense stalled, and refused to let Los Angeles seize momentum. She ended the night with 21 points, but the numbers don't tell the whole story. What stood out was the timing. Every bucket came when Indiana needed it most. When the Sparks made a run, Sims answered. When the Fever's offense froze, Sims broke the ice. And then came the moment that sealed it. With just 13 seconds left and the game hanging in the balance, the ball found Sims. She drove, rose up for that smooth floater she's perfected over a decade in the league, and drilled it. That shot gave Indiana the lead for good, silencing the LA crowd. After the game, when reporters asked how she did it, Sims kept it simple. "If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready." That wasn't just a quote. It was a statement of who she is, a player who's bounced in and out of the league, cut, doubted, overlooked, but never unprepared. On this night, all those years of staying ready paid off. She wasn't just part of the win, she was the win. For all the unlikely heroes Indiana found in Los Angeles, there was still one constant: Aaliyah Boston. From the opening tip, she was everywhere. Offensively, she powered through defenders for 22 points. On the glass, she ripped down 11 rebounds, refusing to let the Sparks control the boards. Defensively, she did something even more rare. 6 steals, a career high, reading passes and shutting down possessions before they ever had a chance to unfold. But Boston wasn't just filling up the stat sheet. She was stamping her presence onto the game itself. Every big moment seemed to orbit around her. Whether it was muscling through traffic for a bucket, finding teammates with sharp passes, or coming up with that game-ending stop, it all ran through her hands. The defining play came with less than 2 seconds left. Los Angeles had one final chance to steal the win. The ball went inside. Boston read it perfectly. She reached in, ripped it away clean, and ended the game herself. No foul, no scramble, just pure dominance. And then came her words. Post-game, reporters asked how this battered team pulled off such a crucial win. Boston didn't complicate it. She simply said, "Next woman up." That phrase struck a chord. It wasn't just a cliche, it was the living truth of the Fever season. Injuries piling up, lineups shuffled every week, players forced into roles they weren't expecting. But instead of excuses, Boston framed it as identity. No matter who goes down, the next woman steps in. Her leadership isn't loud or flashy. It's steady, grounded, and backed by action. On a night when Indiana needed belief as much as talent, Boston gave them both. She was the superstar who reminded everyone why this team is still standing. For all the grit Indiana showed in Los Angeles, there's still one question hanging over the franchise. When is Caitlin Clark coming back? She hasn't suited up in weeks. That groin injury has kept her sidelined for 17 straight games, leaving fans restless and the team scrambling to adjust. Before the injury, Clark was averaging 19 points and 8 assists. Production you can't just replace. She wasn't only scoring, she was dictating pace, bending defenses, and creating space for everyone around her. Without her, the Fever's offense often looked like it was surviving rather than thriving. But here's where things get interesting. For the first time in what feels like forever, Clark has been spotted warming up again, back in practice gear, shooting threes, running through team sets, even taking light contact in scrimmages. The buzz around her return is impossible to ignore. And the timing couldn't be more dramatic. Indiana has only a handful of regular season games left. Each one carries playoff weight. Right now, they're sitting in 6th place, but just a half game separates them from the teams below. Drop 1 or 2 games, and that playoff cushion disappears instantly. That's what makes Clark's potential return so important. With her, the Fever don't just hang on. They level up. Defenses that were smothering Boston suddenly have to stretch out to guard Clark's deep shooting range. Kelsey Mitchell, often forced to create under pressure, gets cleaner looks. Role players like Lexi Hall and Nalissa Smith find themselves with more space to operate. But there's a risk. Push her back too soon, and that injury could linger. Or worse, cut her postseason short before it even begins. That's the balancing act Indiana's coaches are managing right now. Every step she takes on the practice floor is a sign of hope, but also a reminder that patience could be the key to unlocking their playoff run. For fans, it creates a tantalizing possibility. The Fever just beat a rival without their biggest star. Imagine what happens when she returns. When the final buzzer sounded in Los Angeles, it wasn't just another check mark in the win column, it was a statement. The Fever had lost to the Sparks 3 times already this season. Each defeat chipped away at confidence, each loss tightening the playoff race. Coming into this game, Indiana wasn't just playing for pride. They were playing to hold on to their postseason spot, and they did it shorthanded, on the road, against a team desperate to climb back into the picture. That matters because this win didn't just keep Indiana in 6th place, It created breathing room. It pushed the sparks further down and gave the Fever just enough cushion to control their own destiny. In a playoff chase this tight, that's everything. But maybe more important than the standings was the identity this game revealed. This wasn't a night about perfect execution or highlight plays. It was about grit, about Lexi Hull battling through bruises, about Odyssey Sims refusing to let the moment pass her by, about Aaliyah Boston carrying the weight of the team while lifting her teammates with a message as simple as it was powerful. Next woman up. And here's the beauty of it. When Caitlin Clark returns, this win will mean even more, because it proved the Fever don't just need her to survive. They can fight without her, and when you add her playmaking back into that kind of resilience, suddenly this isn't a team clinging to playoff hopes. It's a team nobody wants to face in the postseason. That's the real story of Los Angeles. It wasn't just about surviving one night, it was about proving they're ready for whatever comes next. So when you look back at this win, it's clear it was about more than just a box score. It was about a team proving it could fight through injuries, silence doubt, and find heroes in the most unexpected places. Lexi Hull's toughness, Odyssey Sims' clutch takeover, Aaliyah Boston's steady dominance, and the shadow of Caitlin Clark's looming return. For the Fever, this wasn't survival. This was the start of something bigger. A reminder that no matter who's on the court, this group has the belief and the fight to take on anyone standing in their way. And now, with Clark inching closer to full strength, the question isn't whether the Fever can hang on. The question is, how far can they go when everything finally comes together? If you're riding with this team, drop a big Fever win in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's next. Because if this game proved anything, it's that the Indiana Fever's story this season is only just getting started.